I've said it before and I'll say it again. Your YouTube channel is not about getting views, it's about getting leads. And so there is a very specific way that we want to build your channel in order to get there. Today I'm sharing with you how I pick video topics that are actually going to move the needle and attract the ideal client that I'm looking for. By the way, my name is Caitlin McKegg. I am a YouTube strategist and real estate associate broker. I have built my business on YouTube and I am here to share with you all the tips and tricks on how to do that yourself. So to start out, we want to be thinking about search intent, right? We want to be thinking about what is our ideal client searching for in order to find us? Is it about relocating to a particular city? Is it about tips for selling their home? If you haven't watched any of my past videos about defining your client avatar, make sure you check those out because that will be extremely helpful in you figuring out what type of content to put on your channel. When you know who your client avatar is, it's a lot easier for you to think about what is this person actually typing into the search engine. Because remember, YouTube is a search engine and people are searching on YouTube looking for long form content. They are settling in to watch something more long form and get a lot of information out of it. So what are these people searching in YouTube or even in Google in order to find your video? Now, for example, if your ideal client is a relocation buyer who's moving from out of state to the Phoenix area and has a family, they're probably searching things about the schools in the area, the best neighborhoods in the area, what it's like living in the area. They're most likely not searching for real estate investment tips or best types of properties to invest in Arizona. Those are two different trains of thought. So when you're choosing your video topics and your content, you really want to make sure it's going to align with what your ideal client is looking for. On that note, most likely your ideal client is someone that you've already worked with, right? So let's think about the best client that you worked with that if you could clone them and do it over and over again, you would do so. If you can picture that client, you can also probably remember what questions they had for you in the beginning, during, and after the process. Use those questions to create your content because if that ideal client was asking you those questions, then there are certainly other ideal clients out there that will have those same questions for you. Make video content around that information and it will attract that same type of person. I encourage you to write down questions that your clients ask you throughout the process with any type of transaction because every single one of these questions could be a video topic for you in the future. Now, one thing I recommend that you do at the very beginning of starting your channel is look around at the landscape on YouTube and figure out where you fit into the mix. In other words, what is your competition doing on YouTube? Now, I don't want you to go down a rabbit hole on this and get distracted or intimidated or frustrated and not want to start your channel, but we really can't do this with blinders on in a vacuum, right? We need to know what other agents are out there actively using YouTube in your market. What are they talking about? And how are you going to fit into the mix? I'm a firm believer that there is space for everyone on YouTube, and the way that you do things will be different than the way someone else does things, even if you're talking about similar topics. However, what you might find in this research is that no one is talking about something that you are super passionate about, something that maybe you love to help clients with, and that could be a specific niche for you to fill. So when you're looking at the YouTube landscape, look to identify any sort of content gaps out there. Is there a space that you can fill that no one else is already talking about that you are also passionate about? Because remember, the content that you put out there is the type of client that is going to come back to you. So make sure it's all in alignment. So another thing you can do is kind of create some checks and balances for yourself and really filter these topics through your client avatar. Basically, ask the question, will this information help my ideal client make a move, whether it's buying, selling, investing, whatever your ideal client is looking to do? If I talk about this, is it going to be helpful to my ideal client? If not, then that's not the right content for your channel. But if it is, then that's definitely something you want to make a video about. Now, I know these steps might sound repetitive, but that's kind of intentional, you guys. The whole point of this is know exactly who you're talking to. That equals knowing exactly what type of content to make. Now, let me give you an example. my channel is all market updates. All I talk about is statistics and the market and forecasts and predictions. And to be completely honest with you, that is not my passion. And the type of clients that I get from this content are very analytical type of clients. That's not necessarily what I set out to bring in. However, it's something that has worked over time and I've allowed it to continue, but it just goes to show you that the exact content that you're putting out there is magnetic to the type of people that are attracted to that. So while it works really well for me to get leads, they all might not be exactly my ideal client because they're all a bit more analytical than I would like to be. Now, this is all about content, but this also relates to your personality, right? So if you are a very fun person, you joke around a lot, make sure that comes through in your videos because again, that is going to attract that ideal viewer that's going to be your ideal client. And real estate is always so much more fun when we get to work with our ideal clients. So if you're not sure what content gaps there are in your market, check the description below. I have a guide that you can download that will help you take the step-by-step process to figure out what content gaps there are on YouTube in your area. So these are the steps you're going to take to ensure that your content is in alignment with your ideal client and therefore will attract that ideal client to you. Once you have these content ideas in place, you have to be able to execute. And part of that is really outlining your video, knowing how you are going to hook this viewer from the start and keep them watching until the end. This part is so important because if they don't watch your video, then they're likely not going to give you a call. So here is how I recommend you hook your viewers in the first 60 seconds of your video. Check out this video right here.